Hey guys, let's take a look at some Marx Nutty Mads and similar type figures. Okay, ready to roll. I forgot the Daffy Daddy Ohs. Went and grabbed them real quick. All right, brief history. Marx Nutty Mads first came out in 1963. I've got them by rows here. The front row, these six are Series 1. Second row is Series 2. They came out in 1963 as well. The third row is Series 3, came out in 1964. This row are Marx Weird Ohs, based on the Hawk model kits. And I think they're better than the Hawk model kits because they're sculpted so well. And here are the Blame Its, came out in 1964. There are some smaller Nutty Mads that I'm not sure exactly when they came out. It was some point later, maybe the 80s or whatever. But anyway, we'll look at those. And then here are three of the older repops from Mexico. And then the Daffy Daddy Ohs are laying down in the back there. I'll try to get to all this stuff here. All right, first of all, we got this guy here. Let's take a look at the bottom, see if this will focus. Okay, this is marked 1963. This is Roddy the Hot Rod. As you can see there, kinda. I'm not going to try to show the bottoms of all these because the camera takes a while to focus sometimes. I don't want to waste a lot of time. But that's Roddy the Hot Rod. Here is Manny, the Reckless Mariner. I had one of these as a kid. I loved these things as a kid, you know. Toy monsters and Nutty Mads. The Nutty Mads fit right in, you know. They were part of that whole culture, you know, the Ed Big Daddy Roth with the Rat Fink and Hot Rods and Monsters. This one is Waldo the Weightlifter. And he's of the flat plastic. Black color plastic shows up the details a lot better. This is Rocco the Champ. I had one of these as a kid. And of course, I would make him fight, and he liked to hit people with that big boxing glove he has held up there. And that middle finger is missing from a lot of these, the finger that's sticking up through the glove. Uh, Mine got worn off finally. I'm sure a lot of kids fought these. Here it is Dippy the Deep Diver. Cool looking silly guy with a fish. And he's got a small fish a hold of his butt back there. That oftentimes is broken off. You'll see these in various states of disrepair on eBay. And it seems like they want the same price for them whether they're damaged or not, you know, 10 or 20 bucks. This is Donald the Demon. I guess Speed Demon is what they're going for here because he's got his little car there that he's coming out of. Very Ed Roth-like. And this is Series 2 from 1963 as well. This is Suburban Sydney. He's in a really bright, hot pink color, and it's of that newer plastic that was just coming in around this time. And it's slightly translucent. It doesn't show the details as well as the flat does, and it's not, I don't think it has the lead-based paint for pigment. But anyway, there he is. I put a little piece of cardboard there to help hold him up because the base is a little bendable, you know. Kind of supports him a little better. This one is End Zone, football player. He's got a little guy holding on to him there, trying to tackle him. It's kind of hard to see the detail on this particular one because it's in that newer plastic that, you know, there was a lap over here that I think Marx, by 1964, they had changed largely to the newer plastic, but these are marked 63, and some of them have the newer plastic. So when you see the Marx monsters in the newer plastic, slightly translucent plastic without the lead paint for pigment, people call them the popsicle blue, and the majority of the orange ones are like that. I'll get to that in another video. I'm going to cover the Marx monsters. This is the Thinker from Series 2, marked 1963. And he's a monstrous looking little guy, deep in thought. Here is Chief Lost Teepee in an interesting color there. And he's in the older flat plastics, which shows the detail much better. That horse is pretty cool. Poor horse. Chief Lost Teepee. And here is, let's see, what was this guy's name? The baseball player? Bullpen. Yeah, his name is Bullpen. Try to get that. There you go. They're marked with Roman numerals in 1963, and he's getting ready to. He's really rearing back there. He must be going to put a fastball over the plate. And here's the cop, All Heart Hogan, with a little scrawny bandit that he's captured there. Looks like he broke into a place, burglar. And there's All Heart Hogan. So that's Series 1 and 2. I had an All Heart Hogan as a kid too. Series 3, I think they were more prevalent in Canada. I never had any of those. I don't remember ever seeing them here, but they're marked 1964. This one in this color, I finally found out this is a repop by a company called Plastimarx from Mexico, who was a subsidiary of Marx until, I mean, they were part of Marx early on, and they just made stuff directly for Marx. But in 1972, after Marx was sold to Quaker Oats, I think that Plastimarx company became its own separate company. I don't believe they were affiliated. But anyway, this one is called Gutterball Annie, and she's a bowler. And this, being a Plastimarx repop, it's probably from the 70s. Could be from the 80s. I don't know. I would guess 70s. So yeah, it's pretty well a vintage figure, even though it's not from the original Marx run of this Series 3 set. Now here's the mailman called U.S. Mail. He's pretty funny looking. Now a lot of times when you see these for sale, these letters that he's barely holding on to here are gone. And of course he's got a dog ahead of his, or a hold of his posterior there. Curse of all mailmen. And it's hard to see detail on these because they're that newer plastic, that the slightly translucent stuff. They tend to sell for more than the Series 1 and 2. But the details of what's genuine and what's not has largely been lost over the years. And most of the Nutty Mads you see on eBay now, this is called Now Children. It's a teacher. Her ruler is oftentimes missing when you find them. But see, you can see through that ruler, kinda. That's why I call it slightly translucent. This type of plastic does not show detail as well. But anyway, the Nutty Mads you find on eBay these days, most of them are repops from Mexico because the molds are down there and they're cranking them out. And they don't clean the molds like they should. I mean, they had good quality control at Marx, but people in Mexico, they don't seem to care as much. So a lot of times you see a lot of excess color flash on the edges and stuff like that. And usually the two circles on the bottom of the base are just blank on those. This is called Hypocrite, because the hypodermic he's got there. Oh, and it's got an original little label there. 22 cents. Now, I seem to remember in my neck of the woods in Tennessee, when I was a kid, I used to go to this 5 and dime called Lay's downtown. And it seems like you could get the Nutty Mads and the Marx Monsters for, at first it was like a dime, and then they might have gone up to like 15 cents. And later on in the 60s and into the early 70s, when they were still selling these, this is called Smoky Sam. He's a fireman. But anyway, they eventually went up to like 20 and 25 cents a piece. They were all just bin items. They're found separately in bins, loose. They didn't have any packaging that I ever saw. Now, I have seen pictures of original bags for Nutty Mads and for Marx Monsters. The Marx Monsters are called Cinema Creatures. This is called Mutter. She's got a screaming kid there that she's hanging on to. But that's all of Series 3. Anyway, they were all bin items as far as I knew, and that's all I ever saw them as. And I think that early on you could buy them in bags or maybe order them in the mail or from catalogs or something in those bags, like a set of 6. But when I bought them, they were all loose. And they range from like 10 to 20 cents or so. Now, this set I'm going to show you now are the Weird Ohs, taken from the Hawk Weird Ohs model kits. And this guy here is named Innsville Eddie. These are pretty cool. They're sculpted well by Marx, and I think they're superior to the model kits myself. Now, when you see this guy for sale, oftentimes this rocket on top of his engine is broken off. And also this thing on his foot here, what's left of the, I guess, the gas pedal or whatever, he's stuck his foot all the way through the front end of the car. So, you know, that's part of what was left of the gas pedal, I guess. And anyway, that's Innsville Eddie. But those two little pieces are often missing. This is another one of the Weird Ohs. This is Freddie Flameout in the turquoise. I always loved these in turquoise. Now, I never saw these when I was a kid. I bought all of these off of eBay. You know, my original Marx Nutty Mads that I had as a kid, I've still got a bunch of them, but they are well beat up, well loved and played with. And it's that camera. And we go to this one. His name is Davy. He's a cyclist. I'm going to try to show you the bottoms on these. Now, these Weird Ohs are Mark 1964. Marx 1964. He's got, says a lone wolf on his back there. His motorcycle jacket. And here's one called Daddy. When you go to buy these, oftentimes you'll have splits in these narrow places like of his little hot rod, the front end of it here. Looks kind of like a coffin. And this is his martini glass. A lot of times that's broken off. So, you know, if you go to buy these on eBay or from a toy dealer or whatever, make sure that they've got all the little parts on them. Because they're probably going to try to charge you 50 or 75 bucks for them, whether they've got brakes or not. This is my favorite Weird Oh, is Drag Hag. She's a cool witch in the turquoise. And she's got a big engine in her little jalopy here. And here's the last one of the Weird Ohs. This is Digger. Oftentimes he's got little places broken or broken off too, because on the Weird Ohs there's more little pieces sticking out, like this thing coming out of his ear back here, you know. But the sculpting on these are great, man. I mean, they're fun just to have on your shelf to enjoy. The next set I'm going to show are not Nutty Mads either. They're Blame Its from Marx. These are marked 1964, and they're all in the powder blue. This one is I Didn't Eat It. And it's little mean kids making excuses and lying basically about things they're doing right now, you know, or the obvious effects of them. And here's a piece of cake he's got behind his back here that he's taking a bite out of. He's got a big fat belly full of food, so yeah, he ate it. And here's I Didn't Paint It. And this little liar has his foot stuck in a paint bucket and a wet brush. And of course, you know, you get the say no to crack. And he's looking guilty. And then you got I Didn't Get Dirty. And this one's pouring something out on his shoe there right this second. Little lying creep. And here is another one. I Didn't Break It. And he's holding a big hammer there. It's with a broken piggy bank down there at his feet. Fat belly hanging out. I didn't break it. Yeah, well. Evidence says otherwise, buddy. And here is another one. I Didn't Do It. Now this little creep has a saw that he's holding behind his back. And looks like a table leg. Looks like he's rearranging the furniture. And he's got, yeah, this just reemphasizes my point. Say no to crack, kids. It's not just plumbers, it's also lying children that have that problem. Okay, now here are some Nutty Mads. These are old repops from Mexico. And the quality on these are pretty good. These are probably from the 80s. Could be from the 90s, I don't know, but they're not recent by any means. And the base says Hecho in Mexico. If I can get it lined up here, you can actually read it. Sorry about that. Disorientation problems. Trying to deal with the camera. Focus. Good God. Anyway, it says Hecho in Mexico. Yeah, now it starts to focus after. And here's another one, Hecho in Mexico. I like this purple color. This is another one of the bullpen figures. And quality's pretty good. Now, the repops you get now from Mexico, they're not going to be that good. They're going to have all kind of excess plastic and color flashing sticking out and garbage on them. And they're going to want to charge you 15 or 20 bucks and then shipping from Mexico, and then you got to wait 2 months. Here's a cool blue color for the Thinker. Another one that says Hecho in Mexico. I wonder if it will accidentally focus for this. Now there it is. It's upside down, but Hecho in Mexico. The other circle is blank on those. Now here are the small ones. I don't know the deal behind these. I think they were all sold in a bag or whatever. I've always seen them on eBay in sets. There's this set of 4, and there's another set of 4 different ones. This is Waldo the weightlifter, and not going to even try that. But these have 3 circles on the bottom. The 2 original circles, they're marked 1963, but I'm certain these are later. And it also has a 3rd circle named, or it says made in Hong Kong. Yeah, made in Hong Kong. And here's another Waldo the weightlifter in the smaller scale. And you know, I got these, I thought they were pretty cool just for an oddity, being smaller like that. They're about 2/3 the size of the original ones. Maybe a little less. Here's another Donald the Demon in orange. And it looks like they're in that newer plastic. See, they got 3 circles there. The made in Hong Kong circle is is the more recent one, and then you've got another Dippy the Deep Diver with the fish on his rear end and the silly fish he's holding up there, sticking his tongue out. And there's Dippy. Now we're going to look at MPC. Of course, they jumped on the bandwagon. They cranked out, these are pretty cool little figures. They're skinnier and, of course, not as good as Marx Nutty Mads, but they're much harder to find. These could get expensive. This one is called, I think he's called Pinhead. He's a bowler. He's had some sort of an awful mishap there. And they don't, you know, have proper bases, most of them, so they don't stand up too well. This guy's a golfer. Let's see, what was his name? Should have reviewed that, but I forgot these guys toward the last minute. It just says MPC on the bottom. Anyway, he's the golfer guy. And here's a motorcyclist. These are called the Daffy Daddy Ohs by MPC, and they came out in 1964. They came out in a real cool box. I don't think these were ever individual bin items. Of course, I never had these when I was a kid, but I've seen pictures of the box, and I bought these on eBay several years ago. This guy's called Herculouse. I remember his name. He's a weightlifter. A bug-eyed dude. Of course, big bug eyes are something that is a common trait with all these types of figures. And here's a guy. This is Fractured Francis. He's a skier that broke his leg and arm. And he's using ski as a crutch. And here's the last one. This is Rockin Ronny. And of course, you know, he's got his guitar there. Pretty cool. He got something in his head there that's kind of razzing. Let's see if I can get this. See it sticking out of his head, making a face at people. I don't know what that little thing is supposed to be. Maybe a little bug or something. I don't know. Anyway, there is MPC's versions of the Nutty Mads. And I've got a lot more Nutty Mad stuff, a Nutty Mad Indian, and, you know, some water guns and different things. But that's enough for this video. I was just going to go over the figures. So, hope you enjoyed it. Hope the information might do you some good. And talk to you later.